After more than 24 hours of wall-to-wall coverage of Roseanne Barr's racist tweet about former Obama aide Valerie Jarrett and ABC subsequently canceling her show, Donald Trump finally weighed in, tweeting, Bob Iger of ABC called Valerie Jarrett to let her know that ABC does not tolerate comments like those made by Roseanne Barr. Gee, he never called President Donald J. Trump to apologize for the horrible statements made and said about me on ABC. Maybe I just didn't get the call. Oh, my. While many were quick to criticize the president for making the situation all about him, no surprise there, others offered moderate praise that at least he didn't go so far as to defend Roseanne. How far the presidential bar has fallen. Now, if you somehow missed it, Barr tweeted, quote, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ, in reference to Jarrett, one of several offensive tweets she put out yesterday, but by far the worst of the group. In response, Wanda Sykes announced she would not be returning to the show as a producer, and a few hours later, ABC pulled the plug altogether, calling Barr's tweet abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with her values. As for Jarrett, she responded about as graciously as one possibly could.
I think we have to turn it into a teaching moment. I'm fine. I'm worried about all the people out there who don't have a circle of friends and followers who come right to their defense. The person who's walking down the street minding their own business and they see somebody cling to their purse. Those ordinary examples of racism that happen every single day.
Now, ABC has largely been applauded for cutting ties with Barr so quickly, but they knew what they were getting into well before they signed on to the Roseanne reboot. In 2013, Barr tweeted about Susan Rice, another Obama aide who was also black, calling her, quote, a man with big swing ape balls. In 2015, Barr tweeted she hoped all the Jews leave UC Davis and then it gets nuked after some students passed the resolution to boycott Israel. And even last year, she was still pushing that crackpot sex trafficking conspiracy theory known as Pizzagate. So is the ABC credit really deserved? You could pose the same question about Starbucks, which was lauded for its nationwide racial bias training sessions yesterday, sparked by the arrest of two black men who were waiting for a friend and had the audacity to ask to use the restroom. Reaction on a large scale, but simply reaction nonetheless. Joining me are Tina Opie, Associate Professor of Management at Babson College. Hi there, Tina. Good to see you. Jen Deaderick, who is currently working on an illustrated history of women's citizenship. Jen, it's good to see you again. And Reverend Irene Monroe, a syndicated religion columnist, GBH News contributor, and regular on Boston Public Radio. I love that show, by the way. Good to see you. Irene, so how do you grade what Starbucks and ABC did? You don't have to group them if you want. Is it a CYA thing, as I said a minute ago, based on what we know? You're nodding in agreement already. Or is this corporate responsibility at work? How about you, Irene?
I could say it's a mixture of both if I want to give it a high
well, what do you
B,
really believe?
But I think it's a CYA moment because there are two things that I think that are operating. While we like to say that this is a, they're showing a moral compass, one thing's corporation are understanding, ABC, Disney, as well as Starbucks, that bigoted employees drain not only profitability, but also productivity. So I think that's more than anything.
And people thought that, some people, critics, and I have to say I'm in this category, thought ABC was worried the sponsors were about to take a walk, just like they did for Laura Ingraham after her attack on David Hogg at Parkland. Where were you on this issue?
Oh, I think ABC shouldn't have put the show on, I think, in the first place. I think there was a panic among a lot of the entertainment companies after the election about what the shows that we have on, and do we have to appeal to Trump voters, and so they started bringing, now we've got Tim Allen getting a show back and all these things.
Well, by the way, it worked for the Roseanne. They had 18 million people the first week. It was a huge success.
And then it started sort of plummeting in its popularity. I mean, I think that it is, I think, what she's saying about learning that it's not profitable to be racist and have racist things out there. I think that there's, well, it's true,
We're just now learning this, that it's not profitable to be racist.
I think some of this is about companies, as public space gets diminished, companies are more and more becoming sort of this public sphere and this public space. Like,
as this discussion goes along, I'm thinking that what Irene said as a joke may actually be true. That maybe it was CYA in these cases, but at the same time, the responsible thing for us to do to our stockholders, for the public, is to deal with these things, even if it's after the fact.
I'm a little bit more optimistic than Irene and Jim, maybe.
How?
Which is, I hope that this is the beginning of a larger step. And I looked at a lot of the videos, looked through a lot of the material that Starbucks posted, and they themselves said that this is something that they're hoping will plant a seed, and they're going to continue that. They're going to provide additional partner training as well as training for the leadership team to address this.
Foundational. They said this is foundational.
Yeah, and if this was just an ad hoc, one-off diversity and inclusion effort, which I've seen many organizations engage in, I don't know if they would have done that, because now we're all watching.
There were going to be many forums in Boston about racism initiated last year. By my count, there's been one so far, despite the mayor saying there'd be more.
Right.
You know, by the way, one of the things I realized just left out, in fairness to Roseanne Barr, she did say Ambien was what caused this thing, but the makers of Ambien, Sanofi, responded in a brilliant tweet saying, while all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication. You know why I'm not as optimistic as you are, and I want to be, Tina, is what I said in the open. Even the best that is done is all reaction. Something happens, we react to it.
Right.
Something else happens, we react. We never get ahead of anything. And a new thesis I've come up with, which I hope you're not going to say is totally unoriginal, is maybe we like the current state of affairs. Maybe we're comfortable with a certain layer of racism, because if we weren't, maybe we'd actually do something about it rather than waiting for something horrible to happen and then reacting to it. Am I off base or no?
So what you're saying is true, I think, in the sense that if people, these are smart people, these organizational leaders, these CEOs, boards, if they really wanted to put their money where their mouths are, I think that we would have seen tremendous success. However, let's not forget, they are not monitoring the hearts and minds of the people who are going into those stores or places, and they cannot control them. You can't legislate connection
but that's
and
why
anti-racism.
it's CYA, though, because, see, my point is that it looks good to the public as well as to its shareholders that we're doing diversity training. And as you say, but diversity training does not mean sensitivity training.
Right.
Okay, and what they're saying is that, well, we can't, like you say, we can't gauge the heart and soul of someone, but what they're doing in covering their behinds is that, but we put this in place. What we're not addressing is about that. What the issue is that we have a high bar, meaning of tolerance for white comfortability at the expense of black discomfort.
And we're happy with it the way it is, except for these outliers.
These are white women, and you know, as the colonizer and the panel, I can speak to this. I'll just say that I won't do it because that would be wrong.
Okay.
I can't do it. But I mean, white women. This is Roseanne Barr. This is the manager at Starbucks who calls the cops, and it's like, first of all, white women are told to always just be nice. We have this but we're also told to be scared of black men, and so there's this combination where I think they thought. And we're talking, and even in a
How
greater
about those 5 middle-aged women black golfers? I mean, we supposed to be
right.
scared
Well, that
of
was
them
ridiculous.
too?
No, right. Well, that's a whole other, and then that's like a crazy. And that was like about you're too loud.
Or
You're
the
too slow.
53 women,
53%
women
who
fought.
that's what I'm saying. Who voted for Trump. It's the
That's
same
right.
women.
Right.
Roseanne Barr is a known Trump supporter,
But they don't look like Roseanne, because we think of them, and that's where we don't see.
I bet the manager at Starbucks looked like those women.
Okay, but I think when we think about, and I have to tell you that I was watching the reboot of Roseanne. I was hoping that I did because I was hoping that the show would do what Archie Bunker's show did in the 1970s.
Which is
it
very
was
clever.
hitting these wonderful issues. This time we're seeing the intersection of not only race but class. She has a patchwork kind of family. She has an African American grandkid and all of this.
Sort of like Archie Bunker's
Right.
son-in-law.
So she had a very important platform. But what I felt like is that people who could look at her and say, no, I'm not her, but indeed they are, because they are in the suburbs.
But let's forget Roseanne Barr and talk about, do we have the ability, if we have this comfort level that we all seem to be agreeing upon, can we do anything proactive? I mean, we're in an environment, on March 29th, here's Donald Trump talking about this very same Roseanne Barr. Here's the president.
Look at Roseanne. I called her yesterday. Look at her ratings. They were unbelievable. Over 18 million people. And it was about us.
Yeah, but yesterday we're told by Sarah Huckabee Sanders he was too busy to deal with this, and then he dealt with it by complaining about the fact that he didn't get an apology. When you have a president who is at best indifferent to issues of racism and at worst fomenting that, how do you change the culture that you're talking about. There is a trickle-down effect, isn't there?
But see, the civil rights movement, the feminist movement, the womanist movement did not start from the top. It started from the bottom. And I think that they're going to, you need people in the top to help with systemic changes, but I think there needs to be pressure, the boycotting, taking a knee. I'm very curious to know what's going to happen with the NFL players.
Petered out last year, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it did. It petered out, but let's now see what happens given that 45 has fomented it.
And I see this moment as I depict it as a disastrous opportunity in terms of the fact that our better angels will rise up. I mean, John Meacham has this wonderful book here, talking about the fact that we've seen this before.
We have.
And so it gives us hope, not optimism, but absolute hope that we can get through this. And a lot of people are rising up. I've never heard a white woman say what you say, although we've always known.
On the air, exactly.
We only have a minute left, but what are the, I hate the word proactive, I can't think of a better one. I mean, I read something today, someone said, how about non-police options when you have a situation that is potentially confrontational? Can people be trained about that or talk about what's the proactive stuff?
How about charging white people if they call the police and they shouldn't?
No, I absolutely think there should be a
and I know that
and by the way,
trolls are going to
Commissioner
come.
Evans said in egregious situations he would support that. I'm sorry.
And in the Starbucks training material, they went through, and I said this earlier because I worked at Starbucks for a while. I did, and it was surprising to me that a manager at Starbucks would do that.
And
not
I said,
because, not because I didn't think managers at Starbucks were racist, but because they're trained to deal with situations better than that. And they have been, and to go in and make people, that's supposed to be part of their training.
Jen, what you're then thinking is that Starbucks' organizational culture is stronger than societal culture, which tells us that those black men are to be feared and they shouldn't be in here.
And so what I'm saying
et cetera, et cetera.
With that manager, that overrode her training.
Right. But she couldn't override her innate belief, her implicit bias.
And
that's what we're talking about.
And the cops couldn't override their belief that it was appropriate in that situation to lead them away.
You saw the people in the store saying, what are you doing to the cops? And the cops still did it.
We have 15 seconds.
And how do you untrain that? Those implicit beliefs.
Although I think, when I think about, like, the guys marching in Charlottesville, right?
Oh, Lord.
Those guys,
not end on that negative note, please.
But their belief, I get positive.
Quickly.
Their beliefs used to be the mainstream beliefs, right? That used to be the mainstream racial.
10 seconds
and
left.
look how much better we're doing now.
No, I get with Tina, though, is that when you call the cops on black people, you will be fine, because that's changing behavior. And I'm the minister, I know this.
If the only reason you called it is because of the color of their skin.
That's right. So you change behavior, and if you change the hearts, that's an amen moment.
Good to see you. Congratulations on your tenure, by the way.
Yes,
Jen, it's great to see you.
Seeing you too, Jim.
Reverend Monroe,
always good to
pleasure,
see you.
as always. Great to see all three of you.